with the Commodore on camera. I deserve some sort of medal. Next up on this broadcast, Commodore, you know I appreciate you. Next up on this broadcast is a man that really needs little introduction because of the charisma and history that this guy carries with him. Carries a big stick here on Staten Island in football lore. Commodore is going to give a little brief introduction to our next guest, Vernon Turner. Curtis High School alum, went on to the NFL. Commodore, what do you know about this guy?
Well, I know that Vernon Turner is a genuine human being. He was born January 6, 1967. He's a former American college and professional football player who was a running back, wide receiver, and a return specialist in the National Football League and the NFL Europe for 8 seasons during the 90s. Vernon played college football for Carson Newman College and then professionally for the Buffalo Bills, the Los Angeles Rams, the Detroit Lions, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the NFL. He concluded his career with Frankfurt Galaxy, Scottish Claymores in the NFL Europe. It was an outstanding guy all around. I got to tell you this. He's a Curtis High School graduate. I believe he graduated in 1985. It's about the same time.
I don't know if he wanted you to say the year that he graduated high school. You may now have a problem with that.
No,
all right. No, you didn't have to do shots fired.
Well, no, here's what I wanted to just go up there. When did the Wu-Tang appear in the Wave? When did they bust out down the street?
When did Wu-Tang perform at the Wave?
Come on, when did they break out?
I want to say like 1993 or something like that.
Okay, all right. So
that's where your head's at right now?
Said he was out, man.
All right, listen, I think that's enough. This is enough of an introduction.
Throw down. I'm not done yet.
Let me tell you
about Vernon's career over here.
Yeah, let's go.
He's a fighter, okay? He's from the North Shore, Staten Island. He's a fighter. He's a tough kid. I heard of him when I got to Curtis High School, but he signed on with the Denver Broncos in 1990 to the practice squad, and he went from there. He went undrafted, okay, and he was a little disappointed. He may talk about that a little further, but that didn't mean a thing, okay. He got onto the practice squad with the Broncos. They let him go. He was picked up right away. He went on to Buffalo. He had a tremendous career with Buffalo. That team won a Super Bowl that year. Los Angeles, the Detroit Lions, the Tampa Bay Bucks. Just an outstanding guy. He was the first guy.
Wrap it up, Commodore.
The first guy to return a punt for a touchdown for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's a good friend of all of us here in Staten
You should
Island.
never introduce a couple like for the first time at a wedding. They'll never come out onto the dance floor. The man responsible for the longest introductions of all time, Vernon, welcome to the broadcast, brother. I'm sorry about that.
This is what I put up with, VT.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. You made my day. You really made my day, and thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor.
You know, man, I got to tell you right now, the check is in the mail, right? Our budget is what it is, right? So you'll see a payment, I believe, sometime.
Never.
Yes, never. That's correct. Vernon, thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. I know football's had a tremendous role in your life, and we were just talking about how important it is for kids out here to keep doing it. Tell us a little bit about how it's affected you.
In regards to football in general?
Yeah, football in general. How has football, from high school years shaped you and the career that you had?
Well, that's the thing. I reflect back now on my past, and I saw all the things that I was able to accomplish and how much of an impact football was in my life. And I can't imagine not playing. That's the reason why I feel so bad for these kids now that they're not playing, because I can't imagine being in a situation that they're in right now. I mean, there's no playbook for this. There's no blueprint for what they're going through. So it is really, really, I can't fathom. You talk about the innovation and the imagination you're going to have for these kids now moving forward. We all got to pull together on this one.
Let me ask you, Vernon, when my father here, the Commodore, had mentioned you playing football for Curtis High School in the 80s. I'm very curious as to what kind of surface the Curtis football field was at that time.
All dirt. All dirt. It was a dirt bowl.
These kids don't know how good they have it.
Well, I tell you, I would go back from time to time to visit and catch a game, and I see what they're playing on now, and they would not make it on our field. It was a dirt and rock. I'm sorry, I don't want to alienate the rocks. There was dirt and rock.
Never forget the gravel. Yeah,
gravel.
Oh yeah,
it seems that the Commodore played on the same field at Curtis that you played on. 10 years or so later.
Well, that was once you played on what was the new field in my junior or senior year, 1975 or 1976.
Wow.
So when I played football at Curtis, we didn't even have a field. We practiced at, believe it or not, at Susan Wagner, who had like this driveway of a field. It was like a parking lot with gravel that we practiced on. I think Joe Ryan was the head coach at Susan Wagner. That's how long ago that was, Vernon.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Memories, huh?
Memories. Listen, you talk about though memories, being the camaraderie of a locker room, and you've carried the experience of being involved with a team and that family atmosphere from high school to college and then on to the pros. And I would imagine that in terms of fitting in, and every locker room is different, but having that experience of camaraderie, the foundation of high school, has to play in no matter what level you continue to grow on the field and off the field.
If you think of it this way, you spend so much time together as a team that they become family, and a bond's formed not only with your teammates but with your coaches, staff, equipment guy, the trainer. It just become one big old family. So even when I was playing at Curtis, we had 3 coaches and slash trainer slash equipment guy. So it was we all bonded, and it's at every level. At every level. At the end of the day, we're all brothers.
Sure. And, well, now you're down there. Where do you live? Texas?
Yeah, I live in Texas now, man. It's finally, the weather finally broke. It's been in the 50s today, low 50s, high 40s. So I'm loving it. People around here going crazy, wearing snorkel coats and mittens, and so I'm laughing at them.
I got no idea how to deal with the cold down there, right?
I've been praying for this weather, praying for it, and I finally got it. It's not gonna last long. It's not gonna last long. It'll probably be gone next week. Back up in the 70s.
Balls hot. Is there high school football going down there in Texas?
Actually, yes. And what's funny was that when I spoke to your dad yesterday, he informed me that was, and I did not know that the PSAL was, you guys weren't playing over there. I didn't know. And
well,
we don't tell you nothing down there.
They don't want to tell you.
They don't tell you. We don't know who they are, but they don't tell you.
It was crazy, and but they're playing ball out here, man. Pop Warner and high school, they're playing. So
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah. I don't go to any games or anything like that, but they do.
Are there
they play
people in the stand?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not know. I don't know. Okay. I think I saw one game on television, a highlight, and there were fans, but they were spread out. Right. There was social distance in the stadium. So I did see. I do remember seeing that.
But the kids are definitely playing football, right?
Yeah, they're balling. Yeah, they're balling out here. So I made the assumption that everyone's playing. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, well, no, but it's kind of confusing though, because it's like a Mel Brooks comedy. Because believe it or not, they're playing football in Jersey, like they are in Texas. Socially distancing, fans in the stands, and they're playing Pop Warner all the way up to high school.
And our public schools over here, our public high schools, are losing their top players to New Jersey's top prep schools.
Wild stuff.
They're leaving
man.
Staten Island in their junior year to go play, or their senior year, so that they'll have an opportunity to move on and play at the next level in the college.
I mean, I really do feel. I feel really bad for these kids, and I'm praying that the adults all come together and be creative on how we get these kids exposure when they're not on the field. I'm talking about, and we talked about a little bit in regards to perhaps like a combine for these kids, and so they can show their talents. And I'm hoping that these kids keep them busy by working out, being creative in their workouts, because I know that the pandemic is it's no joke. So I'm just hoping that they're finding a way to keep in shape. And then us as adults, we all come together and figure out how do we get these kids exposure to for the collegiate level so they can have an opportunity to get a scholarship. If it weren't for football, I would not have gone to school. I would not have gone to the next level. So just the thought of these kids not having that opportunity is we have to be creative. We just have to be creative for these kids.
Well, we're with you, Vernon, on that. What we've been kicking around an idea with some of the local coaches here, even up on the hill with Coach Tom Masala, about what can we do as a community, and how can we at Nobody Cares Sports help organize something that our high school student athletes can benefit from to proceed to the next level of the first and foremost, Vernon, their education. Sports will be secondary because you can't play sports for the rest of your life, even in the NFL or Major League Baseball. And that's where I think it's important that we have to step up as a community. But Vernon, your story is amazing. And you said, I didn't know when we would ask you to come on. And we've been talking about the lack of high school sports here in New York City and New York State. And you came to mind as someone who fought his entire life to provide for yourself and your family. And had it not been for your experiences at Curtis High School with Coach Fred Oliveri, I don't know that you would have been the person that you are today. And that made me think of so many other kids. But your story in particular, I looked at VernonTurner.com, and I listened to the 30-minute video that's out there, the audio of a letter that you wrote to your 15-year-old self. I found that incredible. The question I have for you, you did that because someone asked you a question. What would you write yourself? Who asked you that question?
Well, Players Tribune reached out to me. That was a platform that Derek Jeter owned, and they got wind of my story, and they wanted to do a feature on their platform, Players Tribune. And they asked me. They said, "Well, look, would you mind writing a letter to your 15-year-old, to your younger self? Well, to your younger self." And then they asked me two questions. They said, "Well, if you had an opportunity to go back in time, where would that be? And what would you ask that younger self?" And my mind just shifted, and I went into this zone, and I just started talking, and he was recording, and that's what you heard. And I went through so many different emotions. Now, I couldn't sit and do the audio to that because it's too much for me. I break down too much. Just the thought of that moment, my 15-year-old self. So we had to hire someone who vaguely sounded like me to actually do the audio for my letter. But it was one of the most hardest things I've ever had to do, because I had to really go to a specific time that I would give my life up to go back in time and change that event. And it I tell you, I don't know how I reflect back on my life now, and I don't know, had I made one mistake in regards to a decision, it would have altered my life. it's amazing had I not listened to my Pop Warner football coach when he taught me my very first lesson. Is Bill Thatcher, played for the Stumbling Rams. And he taught me my very first lesson. And that was, I don't care what it is, you do not quit, because I actually quit his team because of the situation that I had going on at home. And I quit because they were showing preferential treatment to me. I was one of their better players, but I couldn't make it to the practices all the time on time because I had to take care of my brothers and sisters at home. So I would come late, and the rules were you would not play the first half, but they would still play me. And my teammates started resenting me. I can tell. So I came with the practice one day and I handed my equipment. I said, I can't play anymore. I couldn't take how I was making my teammates feel. I couldn't take it. And he followed me to a park and he told me, there's many things you're going to go through. I don't know what your situation is, young man, but one thing you will not do from now on is you will never quit. And that was my first lesson. And I carry that to my day, to this day. I never quit. That's one. I look at all the things that I've done, and had I not took that and lived it, no telling what would have happened to me. That was my very first lesson, and the rest of the lessons I got mostly from Coach O. That was another amazing guy. You know, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have graduated high school. I wasn't the best.
Earthsign.
Yeah, I wasn't the best academic individual in the world. I had some things going on and I couldn't focus. But that Coach O, I owe that guy.
That's a good man, Freddie.
I owe him.
Can you think of one? Can you think
O.
of one specific reason? I mean, something that you could say on air. Obviously, one specific thing that you remember. Maybe that was something funny that Freddie did that maybe motivated you non-traditionally.
Well,
on the humorous side,
Freddie's a very humorous man.
Coach is a unique and an acquired taste. If you don't know him, you probably might not like him much. He's structured. He's extremely structured. He's anal retentive. He would rather do it his way than to have someone do it and not do it the way he want it done.
We know that guy.
That's my guy, though. That's my guy.
I don't know if you're spitting facts or if shots are being fired.
Yeah,
I mean,
all factual. All factual.
What I'm saying to you is that if you give it everything you have, and you give what you have, all that you can give, he's going to give you everything he has, and he's done it for me. This guy he's done things. He's been in my life and my family's life since I was 14 years old. And that man has, that is my Quan. You know, that thing was that.
Excellent quote.
Good quote.
Yeah, that's my guy. And I look back and I see all the things that he's done for me and my family. Getting me ready for college in regards to sending out highlights to different colleges and making sure I go to summer school, I took the SAT 3 times to get a good score. This guy, he sacrificed time. And I remember one particular thing that happened my freshman year in high school. I thought I was going to get cut. It was the spring. I thought I was going to get cut because I was under 100 pounds. I was 97 pounds. And I remember sneaking into the gym and I took two 5-pound plates. I took the shoestring out of my shoe and I looped it through the two 5-pound plates and I tied it around my waist and I draped my sweatpants over it. And when I went to go weigh in, I weighed over 100 pounds. Well, many years later, I was doing research for my first book, and Coach O said, we would call each other twice a month, and we would reminisce. He says, I know what you did back in high school. I said, what are you talking about, Coach? He says, I know you had weights in your pants. I said, Coach, why didn't you say anything? First of all, I said, how did you know? He said, well, V, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Either two things. either they were 2 5-pound plates or 2 plates in your pants, or you were the most gifted 14-year-old I have ever seen. And I didn't get it at first when he said it, but then I was cracking up and I was embarrassed. I said, well, coach, why didn't you say anything? He says, because I knew right then and there that I had a football player, that you would do anything you had to do to get on the field and you would never come off. And it's so funny. I reflect back and I look, I've played every game. I never missed a game in high school.
That's a lesson you take through life, right? I mean, that's what changes you as an individual, changes us in those adolescent years to become the people that we become later in life, hopefully, right?
Yeah, and you're right. And the thing of it is that we're a dough of clay as kids. These kids, they're doughs of clay. And as adults, as coaches, teachers, mentors, we mold these kids, okay? Coach O molded me to the man that I am today. I'm not good at taking compliments. I don't really think much of myself. I'm always
he shifted right to Coach O, right? He took the focus off of himself.
He's good.
Yeah,
he's dealt with people far worse than us.
I'm just saying. I mean, when I would have a monster game in the high school, I would pass for 200 and something, rush for almost 100 yards. And when we get in the film room, you gotta get quick on your 3-step drop. On your roll pass, you gotta square your shoulders to the target. You could have had 3 more completions. So I always focused on the things that I did wrong. I never really looked at the things that I accomplished the accolades. He taught me it was a trick. Like they're tricking you. They want you to worry about your greatness. They don't want you to think about the things that you need to work on. And I carry that on to me to this day. And I try to pass it on to to people that I train and coach, and even my kid now, my 6-year-old that I have. I want him to have golf clubs in his hands, not a football, though.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, listen, BT, I feel like I can call you BT at this point. I mean, we're very close. Like I said, the check is in the mail, so I know that makes you happy. But we obviously want to continue to pick your brain in the future and have you involved in anything that we're doing to help the youths here in Staten Island while they're sort of without the football as they know it. And I know you want to get involved as well. But if there's people out there that want to find out more about your story, how can they look you up on the internet machine?
All they have to do is just go on my website, vernonturner.com. We got a lot going on right now. I just completed
what is going on? You got anything really cool coming up that you're working on?
Well, I just completed my second book. It's not released yet. We're conjoining it with another project that's going on. We're currently in pre-production for a feature film that they're going to be making. It's going to be titled Relentless. It's my biopic. And I have an amazing producing partners, Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade, Sierra, and Russell Wilson. They've all joined forces to endorse and support and back the project. So the pandemic is no joke. It's really been an obstacle, but it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's an exciting time, but I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm scared as hell. I really am. To have your life in a form of a book is one thing, but when they reincarnate that to actual people that's portraying your life, I don't know if I'm. I just pray. It's not about me though. That's the reason. That's what gives me the strength. It's above me. It's about paying it forward. That's what it's about now.
Well, that's great. We wish you all the best with that. We're going to have a little fun and see who we think should play Coach O in that movie.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Yeah,
oh my God!
There you go. That'll be
you don't have the budget.
Yeah. But, listen, BT, we know you're a busy guy. We appreciate you taking the time to join us here on a Nobody Cares Sports Show tonight as we move forward and trying to help our kids here in this community because nobody cares. Perhaps you can use some of your friends to help influence whatever we put together. Right now, we're at a point of just throwing things up against the wall and see what we can do. But we're going to do something, and we hope you'd like to be included in that. We wish you all the best, Vernon. Thanks for joining. We'll be in touch, my friend.
God bless both of you guys, and you haven't heard the last of me. It's an honor to be on your show, so please have me back, please.
Good times, man. Enjoy the Texas cold.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Good night, brother. Thanks, BT. All right, that was Vernon Turner on tonight's broadcast, Commodore, and he did an absolutely fantastic job, and so did you. You're getting a hell of a lot better with your routine.